Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Business News here on Media Live. My name is Alfred Akanse. Let's go on to our first story this afternoon. The Minister Designate for Business Development, Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, is assuring when approved, his ministry will work to facilitate a new regime to enhance the speedy registration of all businesses in the country. He stressed this will encourage the private sector operate freely by registering their enterprise. He was appearing for the Appointments Committee of Parliament.
Ibrahim Mohammed Awal also said this is to ensure that challenges in registering businesses in Ghana are a thing of the past. He argued that it is important to measure the rate of growth of the private sector by monitoring the ease at which members of the sector register their activities for operations. He is of the view this will encourage private sector growth and involvement in competition.
There's a lot of capital in the system. I mean, development partners are willing and ready if you have very bankable proposals. What we intend to do is to encourage matching, to get similar businesses abroad to partner our local businesses so that they can transfer skills and transfer know-how.
The Minister Designate for Business Development observed that the ministry will not ignore the plight of the private sector in accessing cheap credit. He stressed the need to allow banks to perform the mandate for which they were established.
I think ADB would work in collaboration with others. ADBs must be made to do the work for which it was established. We need to ensure that ADB executes its mandate. We also, at the ministerial level and other levels, I'm sure that there's collaboration to ensure that we improve the macroeconomic environment. If inflation reduces, cost of capital will go down, and most businesses will be able to access the funding to expand their businesses.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Daylex Finance, Ken Thompson, has urged the minister to ensure the right policies and environment is created for the private sector to thrive.
I always believe in the private sector, and at least for Ghana and throughout the world, it's the private sector that has been able to deliver and create wealth. If we think of any sector that the private sector has been part of in this country, if you take telecoms, take transport, take shipping, you take any sector you think of, it's the Ghanaian private sector that has delivered.
All right, so the Institute of Economic Affairs has organized a roundtable on the emergence of the BRICS power engagement in Africa. Speaking at the event, Professor Oliver Stoenkel, an associate professor of international relations, said the strategy of these emerging powers is to create new international institutions that will reduce Africa's dependency on the West.
The BRICS group of emerging economies made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa presence in Africa has attracted some considerable attention. These powers have become an alternative source of trade, investment, loans, aid and arms from traditional Western partners. At a roundtable discussion organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs on the topic, Africa Through the Eyes of BRICS, Professor Olivier Stenkel said these emerging powers are slowing creating new institutions which represent a parallel order. He said their increasing influence in Africa is reconfiguring global geopolitics, which seeks to achieve a greater autonomy from the West.
All of them realize that their relationship to Africa is a necessary and important pillar of their respective economic strategy. So all of them are increasing their diplomatic presence. Even Russia, after the end of the Cold War, which closed embassies in Africa, is now increasing the number of embassies again. Africa as a breadbasket of the world will increasingly be important, and I think the challenge is how to make sure that this perceived importance by the BRICS of Africa also produces positive benefits for Africa.
Senior economist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe, said it is very important for African countries to strategize and take advantage of BRICS' presence in Africa.
As of now, we don't have any clear-cut trade relationship with the BRICS. And if you look at the trade volumes and trade value between the two countries, you can clearly see that it is very unbalanced. It is lopsided, it is one-sided, where China only exports light manufacturing products, product that easily competes with infant industries.
Some of these global institutions, which rivals traditional institutions, include the New Development Bank, BRICS Contingency Reserve Agreement, and Universal Credit Rating Group.
Okay, so that's it for business.